podcast. I'm Joshua.
I'm Josiah.
And today we will be doing a podcast with tons to talk about. We will be talking about the 24 team format and how we think the rest of the summer will shake out. So let's hop right into it. So what do you think of the 24 team format?
Edmonton gets ripped off.
That's
Chicago
not
should not make. Chicago doesn't even have a 500 points.
What I'm at.
I guess, but
Do you like the format itself?
I guess if we get the NHL, it's an interesting format. I think it should be top
Were
two.
there any other formats you think should have been considered?
Top two teams in each division.
Right, but that's already happening.
Top four teams.
Top 2 teams. Oh yeah, top 4 teams in each conference. Yeah.
So Edmonton gets ripped off.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
But whatever.
Yeah, so I like it. I think it's an excellent format, and it means extra hockey for us fans who are obviously desperately needing it with what's going on in the world right now. So,
Sure. Yeah.
What matchup do you think? What's your favorite matchup? The one that you look forward to most to watching?
The Oilers. No, the most.
Yeah. What matchup do you most want to watch? Personally, I'm excited for the Jets and the Flames series.
It's not going to be much in the series if you ask me. The Jets can outscore them. Their team is almost as good as the Flames, and their goaltending is much better.
I think the Jets will win. I think it'll be a really exciting series, though. I mean, think about it. You got Mark Scheifele pitted up against Johnny Gaudreau. I mean, Scheifele's better, but... And, guys like Sean Monahan against Kyle Connor. Again, Kyle Connor wins.
Blake Wheeler versus Matthew Tkachuk. Wheeler's better.
No, it's a Chuck.
No.
It's a Chuck.
Or Laine versus Tkachuk and
Still
Laine.
Tkachuk.
No.
Anyway.
Whatever.
So which team do you think loses in this scenario, other than your precious Oilers?
I don't know. Maybe Pittsburgh, but whatever.
Yeah,
Crosby doesn't really need another cup.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I feel like Pittsburgh got screwed over a little bit. I also think, I think another big team that kind of got screwed over, what's a big team here? I had a team in my head, but I forgot it. So the first overall pick is an interesting one because these teams now get a chance to go to the playoffs, but they also get a chance for the first overall pick.
If they lose. So it's yeah.
So if you think about it, Pittsburgh could get the first overall pick, Edmonton could. So what do you think is the doomsday team for the NHL? If this team won, I guess, Lafreniere, what would happen? And which team is it?
You mean if they won Lafreniere, then they'd just be so insane that nobody would be able to stop them?
No, but it's for example, for Pittsburgh, there are some people who actually think the NHL favors the Penguins and gives them high draft picks on purpose. Because of, their picks of Lemieux and Yager in the past, not to mention Crosby and Malkin more recently. Mm-hmm. And every other decade, they end up getting a generational talent out of the draft. Now, I don't think Lafreniere is a generational talent by any means.
Yeah, no.
But...
Could be.
I think he's, pretty close. Definitely higher than Jack Hughes was last year.
Yeah, he better be. Otherwise, everybody's gonna take the person that they thought should go in the 7th.
Hughes in the end could still be like Joe Thornton in his rookie year was obviously,
I guess,
very bad. And look at what happened to him. So, I mean, in that case, Hughes never wins a cup, which is fully possible in New Jersey. But
if you stay in New Jersey or Buffalo, you're never gonna win a cup.
True. So, what would kind of be the doomsday team?
Buffalo. Because they get another good player. Or never mind. If they win the first overall pick, though, it'll be now they might make the playoffs. No, they won't. All their players will do amazing, and they'll just not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Seems how it always is.
They'll be amazing.
I mean, think about
They'll be amazing after they start giving up goals. I mean, that's kind of what happens in Buffalo, yeah.
Do you think Eichel will be traded?
No.
It's not really on topic, but a lot of people on this website I've been on is thinking he might be traded.
No. He's too valuable to the Sabres. He's their captain. He's a young star. Generational. Pretty close, I say. If he played on a good team and good line mates, I think he could get 90 points. Easy. 95 or something points.
Well, what team... Do you think Buffalo will trade any of their stars?
The only star I could see being traded is like Skinner or Ristolainen.
I feel like a good fit would be like, well, not Toronto. They don't need more offense.
No.
But like, a good fit would be like, Edmonton would be an alright fit. Cause like, think about it. I know I mentioned Edmonton a lot, but think about it. Larson and Ristolainen would make a good defensive pair.
In theory, they're both righty. So which one's playing left?
Ristolainen, because he doesn't play defense. He just plays offense.
Well, that's not necessarily a good thing.
He's basically just a defensive forward.
Yeah, I guess. No, you're right.
Offensive defenseman.
Yeah, offensive. He's an offensive defenseman who
They might as well just make him a right wing instead of a right D.
I mean, they could try, but maybe part of his offense is being back on that D. I think the doomsday scenario is Edmonton. Well, think about all the draft picks they've had. Honestly, like, look at this. So they even had 3 first overall picks in a row. 2010 with Hall, 2011 with Nugent Hopkins.
Don't say his name. Don't say the next person's name.
In 2012 with Neil Yakupov.
Don't say his name.
And so you can't give another first overall pick to Edmonton. And not only that, if they lose to Chicago, it'll be a massive upset. So they won't even deserve it because they should be in the playoffs right now. They're the best team probably in the play-in round, in terms of the standings anyway. So but in the division, they're the highest in their division. And in the points, yeah, they're probably like maybe second or third behind Pittsburgh and some other team, like Toronto, maybe. Mm-hmm. So I feel like there's no excuse for Edmonton losing and then getting a first overall pick, especially with all the first overall pick success they've had. Like Taylor Hall, once the Devils won their first overall pick in 2019 with Jack Hughes, he even joked on Twitter how he's a lottery ball specialist because everywhere he goes, the team gets a first overall pick. He was picked with 1. He was there for Edmonton getting, I think it was 3. Yeah, because he was there when McDavid was drafted first, and that's another guy that was obviously drafted first, except he worked out. Not to mention Draisaitl with the 3rd pick in 2014?
Yeah, something.
And 5th pick? No, he wasn't the 5th pick. And
first, maybe. But
he wasn't first.
I know he wasn't.
First was Ekblad, second was Reinhart, third was Draisaitl. There you go.
I don't know.
So Hall was there for those 3 first overall picks, and then he was there. Was he there in 2017 when they drafted Hischier? Yeah. So he was a first overall pick himself, and he was there for 5 different first overall picks. So does that show that he's lucky, or just that he has a bad choice in teams?
Both.
Yeah, both.
He's only played in 6 playoff
Okay, so
games.
I think another, as I mentioned before, the guys with the tinfoil hats think that, the league actually favors Pittsburgh. And, which, if that were the case, which I don't believe it is, Pittsburgh's obviously capitalized on it pretty well.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, because they've won 5 championships. And they're the only team I know that's not in the original sets that won 2 cups in a row twice. Yeah, I'm thinking about it, because, well, unless you count, the Islanders winning 4 straight, which I don't. Or, yeah, all right. Anyway,
did Edmonton win
let's go with
2 in a row twice?
No, they did, yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, but not, they didn't win 2 in a row. Yeah, they did win 2 cups in a row, but they never did it 2 straight times again, yeah. They did do it, though, in my What If FHM Sit series, which you should check out on my channel. And so, I think another team would be Toronto, if they got the first overall pick.
Oh, no.
It would totally feel like the NHL is trying to feel bad for Toronto, because Toronto's such a big market, and they haven't gotten a cup in forever.
Toronto doesn't need it.
Can you imagine what the scene in Toronto would be if Toronto actually took the cup? I mean, yeah.
Everybody just, looks at the TV. A lot of people would probably
Not to mention, there's a decent chance Toronto would have gone far in the playoffs by now if they didn't have to face Boston every time. If they played in the Pacific, or if they played basically really only in the Pacific, I could totally see them beating Vegas, and there's not really any other teams there that could match them. And so, so I think those 3 teams are definitely up there, and I think some losers, honestly. I think some other losers are Detroit, Because I feel like now there are more teams that are going to be in for the lottery when they've had.
No.
Yeah.
Just 15 again, as usual.
I guess so, but teams that are like, but you know, in a way they're still losing because they had one of the worst seasons in the league, and now a team that had a chance at the playoffs failed again after already failing the first time, and then if they get the lottery pick, that's just really bad news for Detroit. And I feel like that makes them a loser. Not to mention with Ottawa having their pick and then San Jose's pick, which combined gives them a better chance at getting Lafreniere. Detroit's chances of getting
not to mention
the first round pick
if New York Islanders get knocked out in their first season, then they have a 3 chance.
Not first season.
Yeah, I mean first round.
First round, yeah.
Playing round.
First playing round.
Then
yeah.
what if they got number 1, 2, 3? It's Tim Stützle.
Islanders aren't gonna fall that much. There's like it would defy the laws of probability. So
no, but if
it's not likely one of those teams gets the first round pick. It's just in theory if they did.
They might, but what if they got 1, 2, 3 and then they selected Stützle, Byfield, and Lafreniere?
Yeah. So so let's move on to a slightly different topic that I've wanted to address on this podcast for a while, and I have seen it in magazines and on other stuff, but I came up with it before I saw it. So, what do you think are the chances Ottawa gets the Terror Twins? So, if you don't know who those are, Lucas Raymond and Alex Holtz, who played together internationally for Sweden and absolutely dominate. So, what do you think are the chances they pull off like a Sedin Esquire kind of move, except they wouldn't even have to do as much trading because they already have 2 very high picks?
Yeah, it's guaranteed that they can either get, they're pretty much guaranteed they can get those 2, because their picks are going to be like 4th and 5th overall or something.
Yeah, I mean, Raymond's supposedly supposed to fall farther than 5th, so it's basically a guarantee, because it's not, I don't think it's possible that either of those picks falls below 9th, right? Yeah, because if that's the case, then it's guaranteed Raymond, like, they'll have a shot at picking Raymond. Whether they do is obviously up to them. So, what do you think are the chances of them doing it? And what are the factors?
I'm not really sure. I mean, it would be interesting, like, because if their team did get those 2, then they would have, like, what would top line be? Like, Kachuk.
Who do they have as center? A good center in there.
Nobody.
Looks like they need to get a center. So, I mean, luckily for them, they'll probably get, like, the 2nd overall pick or something if they don't get first. And in that case, they can take Byfield.
And then if Islanders get knocked out, they could get Byfield in the
my rule is basically, if they get 2 picks, 4th and below, they will be taking probably Holtz and Raymond, because I don't think they'll take Holtz or Raymond over Stützle, and definitely not over Byfield and Lafreniere, not unless they really want the Terror Twins. They could always trade down, obviously, and then get something else for the pick instead of, like, overpicking. Mm-hmm. So they could trade down to, say, the 5th spot and get Holtz.
Yeah.
And then trade down to, like, the 7th spot and get Raymond, you know, with those picks. Or one of those picks is probably, like, sits, so they can just do that.
All of those are possibilities.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool possibility, and Brian Burke was able to do it with the Sedins in 1999, but Ottawa won't require that much work. Vancouver only had 1 really high pick. I think it was
1st overall.
Oh yeah, they had the 1st overall pick originally, and they somehow had to parlay that into the 2nd and 3rd pick. Somehow also getting the Senators to promise that they wouldn't take either of them, you know. So that was pretty cool to see. Obviously, as a Canucks fan as well.
Well, if I was a Senator.
What matchup do you think is going to be the most boring?
One that's like a complete slaughter, probably. Like.
Right, but like
Edmonton and Chicago or something.
I think the most boring one will be Nashville, Arizona.
Yeah, I think Nashville's going to win it no matter what.
Yeah, but no, I think Arizona wins because they get Darcy Kemper back, and Kemper. You said it to yourself the other day when we were talking. You said it yourself. Kemper's the key to Arizona. And Nashville's goaltending has really struggled. And in the past, I don't know if you've seen Randy, but he cannot play well in the playoffs. I mean, I don't know if they'll give Saros a shot this year, and then he's, like, absolutely amazing. But I don't think it's very likely. And Nashville's attack isn't exactly, like, Top Gun. It's not like Toronto or Tampa Bay level.
Defense, though.
Yeah, but the defense generally isn't the one that scores. So, the offense, it's their job to score, and with Kemper and net, how are they going to possibly do that if Kemper can rediscover his old magic from the start of this year and then also last year? So I think Arizona takes it. Not to mention, I feel Taylor Hall will be fire in the playoffs.
What, because it's his first time in the playoffs, basically?
It's not.
Well, he made the playoffs one time and played in 6 games.
Yeah, but still. Well, this isn't even the playoffs, technically, the playing round. But he's hungry to get there. Phil Kessel, I don't know if he'll be hungry.
Why would he be hungry? He's won
a bunch of cups, yeah.
Or 1 or 2, I'm not sure.
And he doesn't seem like a guy that would be, easily motivated. Not to mention, he struggled with Arizona this year.
Maybe he's getting lazy, slacking off. He's a slacker. Could be, I don't know.
Well, we don't know enough, but, they call him Cheeseburger, so... Or
is he as fat
something
as a
like that.
cheeseburger?
No, stop it.
I don't know.
Stop making fun of Phil Kessel.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about Arizona, but I still think they'll be able to take it. And their defense is talented enough. Maybe it doesn't have the star power of Nashville, but it's still not bad.
What, are you relying on Jordan Oesterle? I can't not.
More like Oliver Ekman-Larsson,
Yeah.
Alex Goloski, Jacob Chikrin.
Okay.
Guys like that who are actually better. OEL can match easily Ellis or Ekholm. I don't think maybe probably not Yossi.
None of the Yoshi can basically
Yossi.
Yossi, whatever. He can light them all up.
I don't think so.
To be honest, it's sad that a defenseman is the leading scorer on a team, though.
And that's my point on the offense. How is an offense that's already not great is gonna beat a goalie absolutely on fire like Kemper? How do you plan
I don't know, but
that's my point, because while Nashville's goaltending struggles, Arizona's offense isn't exactly fire either. So, and neither of them play electrifying styles, so that's why I think it'll be the most boring series, and that's why I think Arizona will take it. Probably goes to the mats 5 games.
But it's just gonna be Taylor Hall takes the puck down.
So who wins the cup now?
Wins the cup?
Yeah.
Boston, maybe. Washington.
Okay, do you remember all the playing rounds? What they are?
Let's think. We got Chicago and Edmonton.
Okay, so let's quickly go over each round and who we think will win. And all right, so Edmonton, Chicago. I think it's pretty obvious. Let's say it together.
Yeah.
Edmonton. Edmonton's attack is just too strong. They're faster. They're hungrier, and they're younger.
Want to know a little fun?
And their goalie isn't injured 55% of the time. And their defense isn't as bad as most people say. So, yeah, I'm definitely going with Edmonton, not to mention they were higher in the standings.
Let's look at this part. Since December 31st till the NHL pause, they averaged 3.57 goals per game, tied with Philly for the most.
Yeah, but that momentum will probably have cooled down by now. So, I'm not really super worried about their stats. But I think, not to mention Edmonton gets home ice advantage. They would, because they were way better in the standings in Chicago. The only thing Chicago has on them is definitely experience due to their past cups.
Alex Chason, no, I'm joking. Who cares about
Alex Chason, yeah, he'll lead them to victory. Maybe he does. Who knows? We're prophetic.
Scores 20 goals in 5 games.
Yeah.
It's guys, I need some help.
80s numbers. So, next series?
Winnipeg and Calgary. You already said Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Okay, so yeah, I simply think
better offense.
Winnipeg's attack is better. They got better speed.
And their defense is not that much worse.
And Gaudreau, Calgary's best point getter, gets easily intimidated in the playoffs because he's so tiny. In past years, against Colorado last year, he got absolutely bullied around. And that was part of Colorado taking them out as easily as they did.
Yeah, just send in, who in Winnipeg is big?
Well, actually, I think they got rid of most of their big players. Bufflin would have been an easy choice if he was still there. I guess Blake Wheeler?
That's sad. If that's their best player, that might be a little bit of a problem. No physicality.
No, they have physicality enough to intimidate Gaudreau. Well, any player that's bigger than Gaudreau could probably intimidate him enough. And pretty much almost everyone on Winnipeg is bigger than him. Laine could do it. He's, 6'5"?
6'2".
If he chose to, it's just that
he's kind of lazy.
You don't know what his commitment level is at most of the time.
He's pretty lazy.
And that's why, he doesn't score as many goals as he possibly could with his potential and his shot.
He could be a 50-goal player.
Oh, easy. So, Next
Minnesota
series.
and Vancouver.
I think Vancouver. So they got more star power. What
Okay.
star power does Minnesota have other than Matt Dumba?
Kevin Fiala.
Oh wow, yeah. If he's their net star, they got issues.
Zach Parise.
I know. Fiala had a great year. I loved him this year. I checked out some of his highlights. He was really good this year, but
What
he's
about Zach
still
Parise?
not star level. Parisi, it's Parisi, and I don't know. Like I think, yeah, he had a good year, but not a great year. So, so Vancouver has like Pedersen, obviously. Besser can do pretty well. Horvat, Miller. So those four alone are just forwards. They got Hughes and then Markstrom too. So I think their star power outdoes them. And the major thing is, if Markstrom was injured, I agree that Minnesota would probably take them out. But Markstrom's not injured now, so that's the main reason why. I think Markstrom was their MVP this year for sure.
Yeah, but guess what?
And should get some Vezina votes.
Okay.
And so they have more star power. They're faster because they're a younger team. They're actually one of the youngest in the NHL. And, they have a decent amount of experience, too. It's not like Minnesota doesn't exactly edge them out too much in experience.
Yeah, but their goaltender's never been to the playoffs. What about that?
Markstrom?
Never been to the playoffs.
Yeah, well, Dupnik hasn't exactly gone far either.
He's still been to the playoffs. He knows what it's like, at least, a little bit.
Yeah, to lose in the first round.
Still.
Yeah, well, and they also got guys that were back at the team when they were successful. Like Edler and Tanev were both on that 2011 Cup final team. So, that's why I think Vancouver will win. They got more star power. They're younger. They're faster, and they got better goaltending. I think the only edge
That's
Minnesota
debatable.
has is defense.
Even goaltending's debatable.
It's definitely not debatable. Dubnyk was terrible this year.
Terrible
Stalock
this
was
year.
average. Markstrom was awesome. So, I don't know how you can really say that. Not to mention, Demko can fill in when he needs to.
I guess.
So, next
And
series?
Louis Domingue, too.
Oh, actually, you didn't say too much on it. So, what do you think?
I don't know. It's just... I don't know about Vancouver and Markstrom with no playoff experience, having been there. That's the one thing. Like, if even you've been to, like, 6 games or something, at least you have a feeling of what it's like, right?
Yeah.
But with Markstrom, he's never, ever been in the
Again,
playoffs.
in theory. That experience doesn't help you too much, though. You don't go out up to someone and say you have tons of playoff experience because you've been to the first round like 3 times and lost every time. So I
It's
think
kinda
maybe
like
he got to the second round like
kind of
once.
like the Gibson
but-
story.
No, because he was there as a backup to Freddie when they went to the conference final one time. So he's been there. Next series?
There's one more in the West, isn't there? No, we discussed them all, I think.
No, we only did 3. Oh, Arizona and Nashville. Yeah, we already covered that one.
And then Toronto and Columbus.
Now this one, I feel Columbus has the biggest chance at being an upset. I mean, if anyone's going to be if anyone's going to get massively upset.
Because Toronto did not do very good.
Toronto did fine.
It's not really an upset.
Well,
I mean,
it's
considering you did your predictions and you told me you thought that they were going to win the Stanley Cup.
Toronto?
Remember?
Yeah, I guess I did say that this year, yeah.
You still think they're going to win the Stanley Cup?
I think they'll get past Columbus, but no, I don't think anymore that they'll take out Boston. I think also last year I put it out in the standings that I think Tampa Bay would defeat Boston, and then Toronto would take out Tampa Bay. So in that case, I didn't also expect that. But, guys like on Toronto, I expected guys like Tyson Barrie to do better, and that their defensive deficiencies would kind of be fixed, and it hasn't been. So, but that's what I was hoping. Not to mention, I thought they might even get someone at the trade deadline, but they didn't. So, yeah, I still think Toronto will come out of it. They're gonna score better. I still think goaltending's got to be better. I know Freddie, he's had his issues in the past playing in Boston, his occasional games there, but he's also had games where he's absolutely amazing. And he's been there before, back when he played in Anaheim, too. So, he's been all the way up to the conference final. So, for an easy playing round, I think that experience will lead him past Elvis Merzlikins, who's a rookie this year. And Korpisalo doesn't exactly have much more playoff experience than that. So, I think, Columbus will fall. They're obviously star power. That's the main factor. I think Toronto.
Name one player on that team that could even get 60 points on Columbus.
Zach Radinsky or Seth Jones, maybe. I don't know. 50 points, both.
Yeah.
They're stars, but because
Their
they
stars
don't
are like
score as much.
Their stars are like Toronto's third liners.
Well, it's like Morgan Riley scores more than every player on Columbus. So
Like I'm saying, like Toronto's third line is as good as Columbus's top line almost.
almost, yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah, it's pretty close. So, did you have anything to say on that?
I don't know. I think that, well, in theory, but then again, Toronto's always been good in theory, and then we've already.
No, but that was facing Boston. They're not facing Boston now, probably until the first round. If Boston won and then if Toronto wins, they'll be facing Boston. So
Yeah, I guess they could win.
I think that'll be interesting to see who wins that, because if it's Columbus, then they try to get revenge on Boston for what happened last year. But if it's Toronto, they're trying to get revenge on literally like every year since 2012. So, or it feels like that anyway. So I think Elvis is gonna leave the building. Yeah, that was the lamest joke
8
ever.
goals off of 8 shots. Goodbye,
So
Murphy.
next, let's do Pittsburgh versus Montreal. Okay, who do you think's taking this one?
Oh my goodness. It's just a hard one. Because, like, Montreal is so deep on their team. Their forward depth is so deep. They have Tatar, Danault,
Domi,
Drouin,
Drouin.
Gallagher. That's 5, and I know they have more.
Yeah,
they have
do
Jesperi, Kokotemi.
Kotkaniemi. And he's not playing on the team. He was sent
That's
down.
fair. He'll be coming in, though, because they're going to bring in, like, 28 players or whatever.
Suzuki, I think he's still playing.
Yep, Suzuki.
Is Ryan Poehling healthy? I know he was injured, like, it was supposed to be season end, but now, like, the Stanley Cup would be almost awarded by now, right? So, in theory, would Poehling be healthy? Because if he was, they'd probably want him playing as well.
Third line center.
Something like that, yeah. Also, it's probably good for him as well, to have that kind of playoff atmosphere for development. So, I think it'll be interesting this series. I still think Pittsburgh's going to take it. I think experience is such a big factor in the playoffs. I know, like I said that Edmonton will beat Chicago, and Chicago has that playoff experience. But it's just that Edmonton's so far ahead in every other, major point that the lack of experience kind of makes up for it. And most of the team was there when they went to the second round, so they've at least been there. So
yeah,
but I still think experience is very important. And Pittsburgh, up there with Chicago and LA, are one of the most experienced teams in the league. And actually now are probably the most experienced team in the league, because they've been the last team there to win a cup, and they've won the most. So I think you can't get much more experience than Pittsburgh is right now. So, and not to mention, they have the star power. What Montreal's been looking for years on a number one center, Pittsburgh has 2. So, that alone, not to mention Matt Murray, who has been struggling or was injured for most of the year with his tall, lanky frame. I hope he's been kind of working on that, with this break here, trying to,
maybe
beef himself up a little bit.
Maybe he's been eating cheeseburgers.
Kind of like a Sergei Bobrovsky kind of move, except he did it over the offseason, but it's kind of the same. It's similar.
Fattened himself up.
Well, maybe...
Look, I gained 50 pounds. I don't need
fattened himself up in, muscle, not fat.
Or he decided to just get fatter.
Point is, so Murray is a very clutch playoff performer. He's proved that in the past. Just look at his rookie season. And then even the year after, when they won their second straight cup, Fleury only took over in the first 2 rounds because Murray was injured, and then when he came in, he just led them immediately. And then another guy who's actually did well in the regular season, who does very well in the playoffs, is Jake Gensel. Gensel does really well in the playoffs, over a point per game. Even when he didn't do as well in the regular season, he kind of made Colin Wilson and suddenly did amazing in the playoffs. I guess it's kind of you almost need that big pressure atmosphere. So that's why I think Pittsburgh will take it. I really think the arguments of we'll be facing a rested Carey Price, I think they're still ridiculous. Whether they happen or not, I really don't care. I think they're ridiculous. Because Carey Price is not the Hart Trophy winner he was, 3-4 years ago? He's every year since then, he's either been injured or he just hasn't done as well.
No.
He's not as good of a goalie as he was then. So I don't know why every other team thinks of him as this demigod guy almost. just because of that 1 year where he was absolutely insane. So I think everyone has got to stop worrying about Carey Price. And if you're like, I feel bad more for guys like Calgary who are facing Hellebuck more than Pittsburgh who's taken on Price. If any team, if you still think that Price is like, the Hart Trophy winning Price, if any guy could beat him, it's Crosby. Backed up by Malkin and Gensel and Rust and Galchenyuk and McCann.
They don't have Galchenyuk anymore.
Oh, they don't? Yeah.
They got rid of him, and they have Zucker, who's even better.
Oh, yeah, Zucker. Yeah, who's better. I keep forgetting they have Zucker now. Like, one of the most underrated moves of the deadline, I think. I think he's a great fit there. So that's why I think Pittsburgh will take it. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I can see that. What do you think of... I keep hearing, like, Toronto's going to trade Kerfoot to Edmonton. What do you think of that?
I literally have never heard that.
Oh, you haven't?
But why would Edmonton need to do that?
Third line C.
Well, I mean, Draisaitl plays center, doesn't he? So Nugent-Hopkins plays center, and McDavid plays center. That's 3 centers.
No, Nugent-Hopkins plays left wing. No. Draisaitl plays center. Yamamoto plays right wing.
That makes no sense.
Anyways, whatever.
Nugent-Hopkins is better at center. So I don't really feel the need, especially to take on that salary. Isn't he getting paid like 4.5 or something, or 3.5?
Something like that. They
Like,
do
there's
it.
no need to. There's just no.
A fair trade would be like James Neal for him.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
No, I'm joking.
Anyways, I wait until the offseason and try to find a cheap number 3 center. Even go after, like, if Joe Thornton goes to free agency, even go after, like, a guy like him. Bring that experience to the table. Mm-hmm. Not to mention playmaking ability. Which he still
next
has.
matchup, Florida and New York Islanders.
Alright, so this is an interesting one. I'd like to say Florida. But Florida is like Toronto. You can never depend on what they're going to do.
It's like
and they always do well when their pressure is completely off and they're like already eliminated from a playoff spot.
I know, it's like, oh wait guys, there's 10 games left in the season. We're not going to make the playoffs. Okay, let's win 10 games in a row.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like insane. And it's like, oh, they just missed. So like, next year they'll be good because they did this. And then next year, they did that for quite a few years in a row. But I thought this was finally their year because they got Quenneville, who I thought would fix those major deficiencies. And I thought their second main problem was goaltending, and I thought Bobrovsky would fix that. But of course, Bobrovsky was terrible.
Now they just have a big bad contract to deal with.
For what? 7 years? 6 years?
8 years.
It's not 8 years still. It's 7, yeah.
At $10 million each.
Ooh, that one hurts. So I'd want to say Florida, but I'm going to say the Islanders because I feel like Florida won't be able to come through in the clutch. Islanders are a far better coach team. No offense to Quenneville. But I really like Trotz. He's the perfect coach for a team like the Islanders.
Trotzy.
Yeah, Trotzy. And not to mention their goaltending. Wherever Mitch Korn goes, star goalies go. Braden Holtby got great when Mitch Korn started coaching him. And when Mitch Korn left, like 2 years ago, oh, look at Holtby's numbers. They absolutely plummeted. And then when he went to the Islanders, suddenly Robin Lehner and Thomas Greiss do insane. And so I feel like if you put like a bag of putts inside of the net, he'd somehow coach it into an all-star goalie. But so I feel like I think goaltending will be all right just because they have Mitch Korn, not to mention the struggles of Bobrovsky. So
what about?
I don't see not to mention Islanders have more experience. So and last time they made in the playoffs, Islanders won.
Islanders, I see the Islanders winning, but
I see the Islanders winning.
It would benefit Ottawa if they didn't, because then they would have a chance of getting like a really good draft pick.
Right, but Islanders aren't going to throw it on purpose so that Ottawa could get a good pick. In fact, that would give them more motivation to win. They don't want Ottawa to get a high pick from them.
They already know Ottawa was going to be insane before they got all these good picks.
Yeah, in terms of prospects. But now, like, the Islanders could go far, and then, Ottawa's stuck with, like, the 20th overall pick or something. Which still isn't bad, but not as good as being, say, 14th.
They could get, like, Tyson Foister.
Yeah, who's really good.
No, the Oilers should get Tyson Foister.
Yeah, but anyway, so next matchup, there's one more.
New York and Carolina.
Exactly. So the Rangers and Carolina. So, what do you think? Let's let you say this one first.
I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, the Rangers are a good team offensively, but defensively they're defensively depleted. And then they've got good goaltending. Now, Carolina's goaltending might be an issue. Offense, but defense, they're like one of the best in the league.
I think the best in the league.
But I mean, yeah, I guess Carolina might take it. So it would be a close one, though.
I think Carolina takes it in like 4. I think the Rangers might be able to grab a game. I don't think, honestly, though, like, yeah, the combo of Panarin and Zibanejad is better than Aho and Teravainen.
By a lot.
But after that, the Rangers don't have too much. It's like they have Kreider, Strome. That's all I can think of.
Kako.
Oh, wow, yeah, he played amazing this year. Like, maybe he does well in the playoffs or something, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
So, I think the Carolina has better depth on offense. I trust their goaltending slightly more. I didn't think that I would just because, Mrazek's the starter, and we've never really been able to trust Mrazek in the past other than last year. But the playoffs last year proved that Mrazek can come through. And he did okay in the playoffs in the years when Detroit got to the first round and was usually swept by Tampa. So I think that Mrazek gets a slight edge because they won't play Lundqvist in the playoffs. I mean, if they do, it'll probably hinder Igor Sherzhyukin's confidence just because he's the starter now, and then that'll signal that to the team that he probably won't be able to handle it. And they already weren't prepared to be in the playoffs because they wouldn't be if not for this format. So
I don't know. They might have made the playoffs.
Unlikely. So,
yeah, I guess.
And then on defense, Carolina is the best in the league, while I think the Rangers is league average. So, I think Carolina takes it in 4.
Okay.
Okay, quick debate time. We got Victor Hedman versus John Carlson. I'm Hedman, you're Carlson.
Okay.
Okay, you start.
Carlson is better, period. That's my argument.
Oh, great.
Better offensively, also. I mean, he was on track for a 90 to 100 point season this year.
No, 90. Don't go.
No, he was on track for 100.
At the start of the year.
Well, could have rekindled 11. He could have gotten like 30 points in 11 games.
All
right. No. But so, yeah, I don't know if he's super good defensively, but offensively, he's way better than Hedman.
I think Hedman, he's got so many different aspects, though. He's more important to Tampa than you would think. Like, there was one year where I think Tampa Bay barely missed the playoffs because everyone got injured with the exception of Kucherov and Hedman. And Hedman was just leading that team. And so he practically almost led them to a playoff spot by himself. So I think he is more of that game-dominating aspect. And Carlson has that in offense, in abundance of it. But he doesn't have it fully just because he doesn't have the other aspects of the game that Hedman has already mastered. Like, Carlson can't touch Hedman defensively. Hedman dominates him physically. Like, he sits 6, and so he would kill Carlson in a fight.
Well,
we're
talking about fights that if they waited defensemen.
And not to mention, Hedman is not that far behind on scoring. He's won the Norris Trophy before off of his scoring. In the years other than this year, he's outscored Carlson. Yeah, he has.
Last year and the year before, Carlson outscored him.
No, Carlson's been getting like 70.
Last year, Carlson.
No, Hedman's been getting like 72 points.
Nope, Hedman had 54 last year. Carlson had 70. Look it up.
Yeah, all right, last year.
And the year before.
The year before, Hedman had like 70 points and Carlson had 60.
No, he had 70.
So, stop it. So, so that's why I think Hedman's better. That's all.
I guess. Or he's a little overrated.
Or Carlson's a little overrated. You ever thought of that?
Maybe.
All right, well, that wraps up our podcast. I'm Joshua.
I'm Josiah.
And we hope that we'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.